It's really easy to motivate yourself to study breast cancer. 40,000 American women die from breast cancer every year. That's like filling a baseball stadium with women every single year.
About 10% of people have a genetic or family history. 90% do not.
The idea of the consortium was to bring together 4 experts in a geographically close area to really attack this issue of breast cancer prevention. Find the Cause is one of the few places where you can go where the money goes directly towards finding out what causes these cancers and finding a way to prevent them from happening in the first place.
The major thing we're working on, funded by Find the Cause, is that we're trying to develop a method of detecting when a person has been exposed to a carcinogen.
My research is done on computers. We're mining large amounts of biological data, looking for patterns that can be supporting is whether a chemical is carcinogenic or not.
There's 84,000 chemicals out there in the environment, and we know almost nothing about whether they're carcinogenic. So if you learn something about one of them or 2 of them, specifically how they work, then you can go back and implicate several of the others in the class.
One project that would have not have been at all possible without their funds, and that has been in the area of immunology and the connections between immunology and breast cancer formation. This was something that was completely initiated through the funding and the support from this foundation, from Find the Cause, and without it would not be able to be in a position today where I'm trying to apply for grants and applying to try for larger investments. Because of the initial experiments we were able to conduct with the support of Find the Cause. Private foundations are really the lifeline for biomedical research in this time.
Somewhere between 50 and 80% of the breast cancers could be avoided if we can really identify which of these chemicals are causing the cancers, for one, and for 2, making people understand that this is something that is doable. It's not impossible. It's not unsolvable.
Without money and funding from Find the Cause, we would not be able to do this project. And I think this is the seed money, and the seed's going to grow a big tree.
Hearing my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer for the 2nd time was absolutely terrifying and confusing. Being the youngest and being only in 6th grade at the time, all I knew and all I could see was my mom suffering and in a lot of pain. And watching that absolutely broke my heart.
My wife was diagnosed with breast cancer about 4 months ago. It's been difficult to digest because everything has been moving so quickly. But what I do know is how helpless I have felt watching my loved one endure the diagnosis and treatments of this awful disease.
When I found out my mom had cancer, I was going back to school from my winter break, my sophomore year of college. I was definitely in denial, just thinking about how this could happen to my mom when she's so young and so healthy. So I definitely used going back to school as a distraction and as a coping mechanism until treatment started. And then that's really what made it all a little bit more realistic.
When I learned of my wife's breast cancer, I was obviously shocked. I worried about her. I worried about her treatments. Then I thought about how we're going to tell the boys and when. But never for a moment did I ever doubt that she was going to pull through.
When my mother told me that she was diagnosed for the 2nd time, my heart shattered. To see the most important person in my life suffer the way that she did was absolutely mortifying.
When my mom told us that she had cancer, I was shocked, worried. I had so many questions, and I was really afraid of what the answers to some of those questions might be.
I was in high school when my mom told us that she had breast cancer for the 2nd time. And I was young, but I was old enough to know that it was really serious, and I was terrified. I was scared for my mom's life. I was scared for my family's future. And truthfully, I was scared for myself and my sister's future. I didn't know what it meant in terms of whether or not we would get cancer. And it was a really, really hard thing to comprehend as a young person.
Well, when I found out that my wife Greta had breast cancer, I remember thinking, this is something that happens, as terrible as this is to say, something that happens to somebody else, a different family. This is something you hear on the news. Oh, that happened to that person, that's a shame. Anyway, what are we having for dinner? But it was very real, it was happening to us. I also knew that my wife happens to be a warrior. And I knew that if she was going to go through a fight, we'd fight it together, and any kind of pain, we'd go through that together. But we had to win. We've got 2 kids. There was no other option. And luckily, she did win.
Well, that is incredibly moving. It's stunning to hear the impact of a breast cancer diagnosis, not only on the people living with breast cancer, but on their loved ones. The words and emotions just shared from family members underscore the importance of the work of Find the Cause, to find the environmental causes of one of our greatest health challenges, breast cancer. Hi, everyone. I am your host, Shayna Seymour, co-anchor of Chronicle on WCVB Channel 5. I'm pleased to be joining you once again for the 19th annual Find the Cause celebration. Find the Cause is dedicated to the science of breast cancer prevention, different from early detection of an existing tumor through mammography or imaging. Find the Cause focuses on stopping cancer before it forms, and that's an important distinction. Prevention is much less expensive than the cost of treating cancer. For obvious reasons, the world still spends 90% of cancer research money on treatments. Yes, that is very important, but it means that less than 10% of cancer funding goes towards prevention. Find the Cause looks at it from another perspective and asks, what if we could actually prevent more cancer diagnoses? How great would it be if fewer people needed treatment? Find the Cause has 2 main goals. The first is to fund scientific research to discover ways to prevent breast cancer. And the second is to educate the public about the causes of breast cancer. Your support helps Find the Cause in their mission to change our understanding of why many individuals with no family history or cancer or genetic indicators end up battling this disease. You can help fund the science by participating in our silent auction or by making a straight donation on this website. Now let's hear from Find the Cause event co-chairs Carla and Rick Griffin.
On behalf of the amazing people that are involved with the Find the Cause, I'd like to welcome you to this year's virtual event. Tonight, you will be hearing about the wonderful progress the consortium is making and how important it is to continue the momentum. A breast cancer diagnosis is devastating. We must work together to stop the increased number of our loved ones who are getting the news, you have breast cancer. The rate of diagnosis among women with no family history of cancer is staggering. RJ Kelly has been involved with the FTC for years, and it's an important cause to our RJ Kelly team. To kick off the funding of this evening, the RJ Kelly team has decided to match the first 50,000 of donations. And now my wife Carla would like to say a few words.
Rick and I are so pleased to help fund the science as well as support the work that Find the Cause does to help educate more people about the environmental impacts on cancer and what we can do to stop it. We know we can do this together. It is a privilege to recognize the Lingrens this year who understand all too well the impact of a cancer diagnosis. They have been amazing personal and corporate champions for breast cancer prevention research. We join with all of Find the Cause's corporate and individual sponsors in congratulating them for this honor.
Wow, that's incredible that RJ Kelly will match dollar for dollar all donations made online up to $50,000. That means every donation made will be doubled and make an even bigger difference for Find the Cause. Thank you, Carla and Rick. Thanks for your inspiration by example and your willingness to engage the corporate community with this important cause. The World Health Organization predicts that the number of people diagnosed with cancer will double in the next 10 years. And scientists estimate that between 65 and 90% of all cancers are caused by environmental factors. It's scary, but that is the track that we are on. So Find the Cause asks, what are those environmental factors causing cancer? And then shares the information with both the medical community and the public in an effort to decrease the number of people diagnosed with cancer. This work is based right here in Boston with a consortium of 4 world-renowned research scientists, each focused on a different piece of the puzzle and funded by Find the Cause. Discoveries made in their labs move us closer to learning how to prevent an increasing number of cancer's diagnoses. Here's a little bit more about Find the Cause from their executive director, Caitlin Mosier-Ellis.
It's clear that the environmental influences are causing an uptick in breast cancer diagnosis. It's all around us and it's hard to miss. The Find the Cause Research Consortium is working hard to understand that link, and they work laser focused every day to help us get there. Each discovery brings us all closer to a goal of breast cancer prevention, and you make this possible. Your contributions are the driving force behind their breakthroughs. You are creating the momentum that we need to get to breast cancer prevention together, and we will. This year has been a great year for Find the Cause. We've presented more educational and awareness programming to audiences than ever before. We've reached thousands on our social media platform. And best of all, we were able to grant $500,000 to the Find the Cause Research Consortium. Imagine the potential that those dollars can have. This is the largest donation that's ever been done from Find the Cause, and we're excited to have you be a part of it. We can't do this without your support. Breast cancer is impacting way too many people. When I came to Find the Cause as executive director 3 years ago, I had no personal connection to breast cancer. I was intrigued by the translational dollar that would go to fund life-changing science. I was also inspired by the women that I had met who just wanted to know where their cancer came from. Their resolve was palpable, along with their loved ones, husbands, children, all working to figure out what was triggering this epidemic. And then I became one of them. This past summer, I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma, breast cancer. I went from 0 to 1,000 in no time flat, and everything from then on has moved at warp speed. Your appointments stack up so fast, your testing happens so fast, your treatment team comes together so fast, more testing, more testing, more testing, more testing, and then your surgery date comes up and you're facing a bilateral mastectomy. My life took a hard left turn out of the blue. I found myself where so many women had been before me, asking the same questions I had heard at work all the time. Where did this come from? How did this happen? When did this begin? I had no good answers, and I work on this. Sure, I'd read the statistics. I mean, 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer in their lifetime. Of them, 90% will have no family history. Well, I had genetic testing done, and I don't carry one of the 8 markers that would have put me in that category. Instead, there was something in the environment that made my cancer happen. Because my cancer is not genetic, I wonder what I was exposed to. Was my husband exposed to the same thing? Is he going to get cancer? I have something in my body that's trying to kill me, and nobody can tell me where it came from, how long it's been there, where it started, how to stop it. A diagnosis of breast cancer is a lot. You can't do this disease alone. I'm so grateful that I have a great family. I have an awesome group of friends. I have a wonderful pack of women who have been through this and shared their wisdom with me. And they also shared my frustrations. And I have a husband who hasn't left my side since the day I was diagnosed. But wouldn't it be just better if nobody ever had to go through this again? Of all the thoughts that went through my mind from the second I was told, I'm sorry, you have breast cancer, there was one that rose to the top. It's time we find the cause.
Thank you, Caitlin, for the Find the Cause update, but more importantly, for sharing your personal and recent battle with breast cancer. I know that all of us support your courage and continued efforts to understand why, if 90% of women diagnosed with breast cancer have no prior family history, then where is this coming from? The Find the Cause Consortium's research focuses on answering these questions through both primary and secondary prevention. Primary prevention helps us understand what in the environment causes cancer in an effort to reduce our exposure. And secondary prevention will help us intervene after an exposure so we can stop tumor growth before it happens. What powers this important research are the contributions by and support from all of you. You can contribute by participating in our silent auction or by making a straight donation on this website. Now let's meet our impressive panel of scientists. David Scher.
Well, thanks very much for that introduction. Let me take a second to explain our goals and why we have a consortium. Find the Cause has two main goals. One is to educate the public about the causes of breast and other cancers, and through scientific discovery, find ways to prevent it. Not everyone knows that prevention is eminently doable. The funds from Find the Cause enable us to study cancer in ways that we wouldn't be possible otherwise. And why a consortium? Over the last 10 years, our understanding of cancer has accelerated at a stupefying rate. The technologies in particular have advanced so quickly that no one lab can stay up with things. The only way to do this is through team science, and that's what we're doing. So first, a little background information about the immune system. So after you make a sufficient immune response to an infection, your immune system makes natural immunosuppressant products that calm the immune system down. And these natural immunosuppressants also prevent autoimmunity. And they do so by activating a specific receptor within an immune cell, which you can think of as a pair of hands that just grabs these chemicals and signals to the immune cell to just be quiet for a little bit. But cancer cells are very clever. They have figured out how to make bucket loads of these chemicals to nearly completely shut off an immune response that would otherwise kill the cancer. Now, coincidentally and unfortunately, and this is our entree into this whole subject of environmental chemicals, environmental pollutants mimic these natural immunosuppressants. So exposure to these chemicals, which Charlotte will tell you about briefly, can contribute to the initiation of cancer. Once the cancer begins, it can produce more of these compounds that basically flatten the immune system. But we've shown that if you blind the immune system to these chemicals, you suppress or delete this one receptor or block it in some way, you can completely stop cancer from forming. We've shown this in a couple of cancer models. We think this means that there's an unlimited potential to use this approach as an immunopreventative and, if you like, as an immunotherapy as well. Now, we know in general what kinds of immune cells get recruited into the cancer that kills the cancer, but we don't really know how they talk to each other, and we don't really know how they talk to the malignant cells themselves. That's where Stefano comes in. Stefano, want to enlighten us a little bit more?
Yeah, thank you, David. My expertise is in computational biology. And what is computational biology? It is the science of using computers to simulate and study the behavior of complex biological systems. And the human organism is the ultimate complex system. So over the last few decades, large volumes of complex biological data, and in particular cancer data, have been generated through new technologies, so-called genomics technologies. And computation can be used to sift through this data to extract patterns that may point to a disease's causes and effects. Now, hear me clearly here, there are 30 trillion cells in the human body. Try to write it down. Cancer arises from one cell gone rogue, which then expand into multiple tumor cells and ultimately migrate. So to achieve this feast, these tumor cells need to get along with their surroundings, that is, with other cells in the so-called microenvironment. Now we have technologies and the computational tools to measure their activities at the single cell resolution and to study how different cell types talk to each other. And with the help of Find the Cause, we're conducting studies in mouse models of chemical-induced tumors, breast, head and neck, and lung cancer. And through computational modeling, we're investigating how tumor cells first arise and how they influence and are influenced by other cell types. In particular, how tumor cells manage to fool the immune cells not to attack them. which is also the focus of this work. But mice, which is where we're performing these studies, are not humans. They have tails, they're different. And although some of these differences can be corrected by computational methods, the ultimate goal is to study human cells. And that's where Charlotte comes in. Charlotte?
Thanks, Stefano. And indeed, you're right. Studying disease progression and pathogenesis in animal models has been the staple of research for the last 50 years. Those models have been primarily rodents, mice and rats. And we all know that mice and rats do not have breasts that resemble the human breast. They don't look like the human breast. They don't respond to hormones like the human breast. And so it's been very challenging to begin to really understand the full cellular, molecular, and even genetic changes that are required to drive cancer, and therefore to understand how to prevent them in these models. So one of the things that my laboratory has been doing to overcome these challenges is we've developed a human breast biomimetic tissue. And this is really a platform where we can actually grow miniature human breast tissues in three-dimensional gels, starting from a single normal breast cell that we collect from women who undergo elective reduction mammoplasties. And this breast tissue that we grow in these cultures respond to hormones like they do in the human breast. In women, they make milk. They can be even forced into making precancers and even possibly cancer itself by manipulating the molecules and the genetics and even the environment of those gels. What we've done this past year with Find the Causes support is we've actually now successfully incorporated genetically matched human immune cells with these miniature breasts. And so now we have these tissues that have both the immune components and the breast tissue components to be able to study in a very powerful way to study how environmental chemicals alter the interactions between these cell types and also affect the breast tissue itself. We've already begun using this platform to examining a handful of environmental chemicals, such as endocrine disruptors and many others that we've actually been working with David's lab to look at. And now for the first time in real time under live imaging, we can actually watch how chemical exposures on a cellular level can lead to tissue level changes and even cancer. And this exposure is actually really also important because it's going to give us a molecular signature that we can actually use to understand when, during the lifetime of a woman, exposure to chemicals in her breast tissue could lead to these changes. And this is actually what Gail's efforts are looking and focused on is measuring this exposure and seeing whether this exposure can serve as a biomarker for being able to identify that exposure and ultimately to prevent the changes that we think might happen in response to that exposure. Gail?
Thank you, Charlotte. My lab is working to develop a rapid test to determine whether a person has been exposed to unsafe levels of environmental cancer-causing chemicals. That's quite a mouthful. Specifically, we're looking at a family of very small signaling molecules, called also messengers, that can be released into the bloodstream. And these messengers can exit the bloodstream and enter a recipient cell and cause profound changes within this new host. Specifically, they can induce genes that cause cancer. They can repress genes that prevent cancer. They can also cause unwanted changes in the immune system. So we're using 3 overlapping approaches to identify these changes in small messengers. One, we're looking at factors that are released from human breast cancer cells that we grow on a plate, petri dish, and culture. We're looking in mice that have been treated with environmental carcinogens with David. And we're also looking at Charlotte's in vitro models. Ultimately, the goal is to identify a messenger signature or a diagnostic panel, whatever you wish to call it. But this will be used to identify what is happening after a person has been exposed to dangerous chemicals. And the advantage of this is that the test that we're developing will be rapid, and results will be able to be obtained within the matter of days, enabling the person to either prevent further exposure or, at worst, to intercept the process before the cancer occurs. So while each of us has our own project, working within a consortium really amplifies our progress and our ability to make critical discoveries. Now back to David.
Yeah, amen to that. Thanks, Gail. So just to retreat a bit from all this geeky talk and return to earth, let's quickly talk about what personally motivates us to do this work. Stefano, why don't you start us off? What's driving you?
Because I found this community, which is Find the Cause, which is this amazing group of people who basically are putting their heart and soul into really helping us and trusting us with advancing this incredibly difficult and challenging discipline and problem.
Charlotte, what's driving you?
My soon-to-be 9-year-old daughter, seeing her now at this stage of development where I know as a researcher is the window where she is going to be exquisitely sensitive to the environment in her development, both in her body, her mind, and the panic I feel every day when she washes her hair with something that I know might have a chemical, and I think, oh my gosh, is this the exposure she's going to have? And so it's a panic actually. It's this notion that there's nothing right now I can do to prevent my daughter from whatever effects these chemicals are going to have on her. And hopefully what we do will be able in enough time to do that.
Gail, what's propelling you?
Just hearing about these cases of friends or family who get sick and are suffering from cancer, it just have to do more. That's all. I just feel like I have to do more.
Yeah, we have to do more, and we're doing that. So for me, the main driver is also my kids. I have a daughter and a son, and a family history of cancer, which makes us more susceptible to these 86,000 chemicals that are out in the environment. I really don't want to see them join a club that no one wants to belong to. So now you can all see why we're more than a little obsessed with finding the cause and preventing cancer. We hope that you, the viewers, are motivated to do what you can to help find the cause, or to help you and your kids. Prevention is doable. With your help, we can do this. So thanks very much.
What an incredible exchange of information on the science of prevention, and congratulations to all the scientists, Find the Cause, and all of you for the incredible breakthroughs in the labs over the last year. And thank you to all Find the Cause sponsors and donors. This work does not happen without all of you. Let's thank our major sponsors, including the Cox Family Foundation, the Schaubel Group, Cambridge Savings Bank, Intercontinental Real Estate, the Lindgren family, Monashi Investment Management, National Development, RJ Kelly Company, and Trish and Tom Wynn. Your leadership inspires all of us to invest in a safer future for our children, our grandchildren, and generations to come. You too can invest in a healthier future by participating in our silent auction or by making a straight donation. Don't forget, RJ Kelly's generous match will double the value of every donation. And now we ask event co-chairs Trish and Tom Wynn to help honor tonight's Find the Cause Champion 2022 award recipients, Drew and Michael Lindgren. Both Drew and Michael serve on our board of directors, and Michael currently serves as board chair. We join the Wynns in recognizing their years of service, hard work, and fundraising support to help fund the science and find the cause.
Trish and I are honored to serve as event co-chairs of the Find the Cause Breast Cancer Foundation's annual virtual event. We're delighted to join all of you to recognize the hard work and dedication of this year's honorees, Drew and Michael Lindgren. Their vision of how cancer prevention research can truly eradicate breast cancer, along with their hard work and financial support, have accelerated the research of the Find the Cause scientists at a rate once not thought possible.
Michael and Drew's tireless effort to educate the public, create awareness among friends, fundraise on behalf of the Find the Cause mission, as well as personally support the cause, shows their dedication to the belief that cancer prevention is possible. As a fellow board member, friend, and breast cancer survivor, I am humbled to acknowledge their longtime commitment to Find the Cause by giving them this award. Congratulations, Drew and Michael.
Wow. Such kind words. Thank you. Trish and Tom, you both have been strong supporters of Find the Cause, and we truly appreciate it. Drew and I are humbled to be honored this year. Over the past few years, there has been an impressive increase in both corporate and personal support for Find the Cause for its mission to prevent cancer. It's coming from people who, like us and all of you, want to see a better world for future generations. We just can't do it without all of you. Funds raised have sped up discoveries and made real advancements in breast cancer prevention research. Drew and I would like to personally thank our scientists, David, Gail, Charlotte, and Stefano, for their relentless dedication to prevent cancers. It's been my passion to be a part of connecting corporate support to our prevention research. I'd like to thank all of my friends, clients, and colleagues in the commercial real estate community who have supported me and Find the Cause. Especially in my retirement year, I want to thank Wayne, our CEO, and all of Cambridge Savings Bank. It truly is a great company.
Thank you, Trish and Tom. Trish, as a fellow breast cancer survivor and mom, I share with you the determination to battle this disease through prevention. I'm a 2-time breast cancer survivor. One of the most difficult things I've ever had to do was to tell our children about my second diagnosis. I felt as though I had lied to them because I told them after I was treated the first time that I was okay. And frankly, I didn't know if that was true anymore. All I knew is that I didn't want this ever to happen to them. I'm proud to be co-chair of the Find the Cause Education Committee and to share through our educational presentations the most up-to-date information on how to limit our exposure to dangerous chemicals to make our everyday lives safer. My wish is that Find the Cause's educational and awareness programs, coupled with the research done by our brilliant consortium of scientists, will put an end to the epidemic of breast cancer. Thank you very much for this honor, for your generous support, and for all that Find the Cause does to improve the lives of our children and future generations.
Congratulations to Drew and Michael. Their work on behalf of the Find the Cause mission has been longstanding and exemplary. Their efforts make a difference and change lives. And there are 3 others who would also like to acknowledge that.
Congratulations, Mom and Dad. I am so proud of you guys for everything that you've accomplished, and I can't think of 2 people who are more deserving of this award. You are my role models, and I can't thank you enough for creating a safer and better future for me and everyone else.
Mom and Dad, I am so proud of you for your relentless efforts and accomplishments in supporting cancer prevention. You inspire me and so many others to swim upstream and fight for the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I cannot thank you enough for being the greatest role models for Annie, Carl, and I. I'm in constant awe of your compassion for others and your determination to leave this world a better place for generations to come. All I can say is thank you. Thank you on behalf of me and so many other people that you're going to leave an impact on. It's truly incredible.
Thanks again to the Lindgren family for all they have done for Find the Cause, and thank you for joining Find the Cause, supporting the mission, and learning more from our bright and talented consortium of scientists. Please bid in the silent auction for another 2 hours, and if you haven't already given yet, you can always do so right now. Don't forget RJ Kelly's $50,000 match challenge, which doubles the value of all donations. To our sponsors, a heartfelt thank you. All of your support allows us to continue to prevent cancer. Please make a donation or continue bidding while we hear a few final words from the Find the Cause Consortium scientists. Thank you once again. I'm Shayna Seymour.
Well, one really important thing is that the funds that we get from Find the Cause really accelerates the studies that we're doing. It allows us to do technologies that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do. It allows us to take chances in ways that you could never get past the NIH. And this is the way you get significant progress. You make leaps and bounds rather than incremental improvements.
We can't predict what ultimately the science discoveries are based on. And that's really what almost all other funding mechanisms are based on, this understanding that we know ahead of time what we're going to discover, and then we're going to go discover it. Find the Cause is the complete reverse. They're saying, you're the explorers, you know there's a big discovery out there to go discover it, here's your boat, go discover it.
And so I'm really motivated by the entire Find the Cause community in continuing and actually doubling and tripling my effort to try to make progress.
Those of us who are survivors and are still dealing with the possibilities of recurrence, I can tell you that preventing the cancer will be much better for your children and your grandchildren and for you than the treatment, no matter how good it is.